Welcome to Our Candy Rose for those who stay, in loving memory of my daughter, Candace Rose, who lived from 2007 to 2025. For those who stay, we remember your life will not be in vain. Everything we do will be in your name. This space is for the ones still breathing, still loving, still waking up in a world that kept moving when our child didn't get to. Today's episode is gentle, but it might confront something that many of us don't realize we're carrying. You're not a machine. You're a soul who needs music, connection, sunsets, laughter, and small pockets of joy. When I read that sentence, it stopped me, not because it sounded poetic, but it felt corrective. Somewhere along the way, many of us started living like output determines worth. We measure our days by what we accomplish. We measure ourselves by how much we can hold. We measure healing by how functional we appear. And slowly, quietly, we forget that being human was never meant to feel like constant optimization. Today, we're talking about productivity, but not from a hustle perspective, from a soul perspective. There's a formula many of us internalize without realizing it. Do more, be more, achieve more, earn rest, then maybe you're enough. And if you stop, if you pause, if you don't optimize the moment, guilt creeps in. As if stillness is a failure, as if rest is indulgence, as if joy must be justified. I know this pattern way too well. I've worn responsibility like armor. I've proven my strength through endurance. I've equated exhaustion with dedication. Even grief can become performance-based. How quickly are you returning to work? How composed are you? How articulate are you about your pain? Even healing can become something we try to do well. But grief isn't a task, and neither is being alive. We live in a culture that worships productivity. Rise and grind, hustle harder, stay hungry, earn your rest. And here's the complicated truth. Productivity feels safe. If you experience trauma, loss, instability, doing can feel safer than being. When you're doing, you feel in control. You're fixing, you're improving, managing. But presence requires vulnerability. When you slow down, emotions surface. Fatigue surfaces, longing surfaces. And if you've been the strong one for a long time, slowing down can feel like collapse. I used to think if I stopped moving forward, I would fall apart. But here's what I've learned. I wasn't lazy. I was tired. Not the sleepy kind of tired, the soul tired. The kind of exhaustion that doesn't improve with sleep, because it's the exhaustion of bracing for the responsibility, for the disappointment, for the next thing that might go wrong. Maybe you know that kind of tired, where your to-do list grows, but your joy shrinks, where your body sits down, but your mind keeps sprinting. We became machines slowly. Not because we wanted to, but because productivity felt like protection. There was a small moment that shifted something for me. Nothing dramatic. I was driving home after a long shift, checklist complete, metrics met, no disasters, and I looked up at a stoplight and saw the sky. It was pink, soft, quiet, glowing. And I had this strange realization. I couldn't remember the last time I had actually seen a sunset. Not glanced at one, seen one. had been so focused on being useful, being reliable, on proving I was strong, that I had stopped being inside my own life. And grief magnifies that awareness, because when someone you love dies, suddenly the urgency of productivity loses its shine. The calendar doesn't hold the same authority. The inbox doesn't carry the same weight. Candace used to say, "Mom, you always find time for everyone else. When's your turn?" At the time, I would smile, deflect, keep moving, but she was right. Even after loss, I was still trying to do healing correctly, as if grief had a performance review, as if there was a gold star for composure. There is no award for ignoring sunsets. There's no badge for being the most exhausted. There's no trophy for minimizing your needs, and yet we behave like there is. Here's what I know now. Productivity isn't purpose. Presence is. We weren't designed for endless output. We were designed for connection, for shared laughter that interrupts a serious day, for music in the kitchen, for hands reaching across the table, for conversations that last longer than scheduled, for sunlight on our skin, and for breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. We measure value in numbers, but life is measured in moments. If no one praised your output, would you still feel valuable? If the world stopped keeping score, would you know that you're enough? That question can feel destabilizing, because many of us outsourced our worth to performance. But your worth existed before your resume, before your accomplishments, before your survival strategies, and before our grief. You're not valuable because you produce. You're valuable because you are. And when you slow down, your worth doesn't shrink. It reveals itself. You are allowed to live at a human's pace. You are allowed to enjoy something without documenting it. You are allowed to sit outside with no productivity goal. You are allowed to rest before you deserve it. You're allowed to choose joy without earning it. Rest is not a reward, it's a rhythm. And joy is not laziness, it's aliveness. You're not here to win the exhaustion Olympics. You're not here to optimize every minute. You're here to live. Not always efficiently, not always impressively, but fully in the moment. Let's gently end by taking another slow breath in and release. One more. In and out. If it feels right, repeat softly after me. I am not a machine. I am a living, breathing soul. My worth is not measured by productivity. Rest is sacred. Joy is essential. I'm allowed to pause. I'm allowed to enjoy my own life. I am enough, even when I am still. Let the clock keep ticking. Your presence is timeless. Let life be a gift, not a list. Thank you for being here, for breathing, for stepping off the conveyor belt for one moment. If this episode spoke to you tonight, step outside, Watch the sky change. Let it remind you. No rushing, just living. Be gentle with yourself. For those who stay, we remember. I love you.